Hi, I'm Heather, and I chose to go live on the Art of Processing channel instead of maybe Heather's Full Catastrophe or my Heather Thomas Campbell channel, because I don't know how emotional I'm gonna get, and I guess this is the place where I kind of reserve, where I feel like anyone who's coming to this channel is prepared for anything. So it's okay if I don't even know what's going to happen. What I want to talk about is I'm preparing to launch myself a fundraising page through BuyMeACoffee. I chose BuyMeACoffee instead of Patreon for now, just because it just felt simpler and more streamlined. I'm not even using the membership site portion of it at this point, but I'm sure I'll change that. Or maybe I'll shift to Patreon. I don't know, but I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. And then a good friend of mine, Azaria, from the Eye Inside on YouTube, she shared this piece of writing written by, I guess it's from Hearticulations of a BirthKeeper Facebook page. Women need community. It's in our blood, our bones. We are meant to sing together, cook together, tend the garden together, play together, pray together. We all long for this. Maybe this longing is ever present and permeates all that we are, or maybe it shows its face in the quiet subtleties of life, in the way we devour poetry, in the way we make love, in the way we fantasize about the lives of passerby, in the way we draw out conversation in hopes for that familiar old spark of depth. We remember, our bodies remember, we need it. And I see so many of us today reaching out for such community only to be met with other women who are also under-resourced, under-pleasured, overworked, and overwhelmed. I'm seeing a detrimental lack of support for mothers in particular. Humanity is suffering largely in part because our mothers are suffering. Read that again. Humanity is suffering, largely in part because our mothers are suffering. These days, moms can't hardly bathe themselves in peace, let alone find the energy to pour into their passions in life's work. The passion of the feminine quite literally keeps the world spinning. Yet instead of being available for spontaneous creative flow and life-altering love, mothers are constantly forced into beta brain, making phone calls, meals, money, appointments, balancing schedules and checkbooks, playing mom, dad, friend, therapist, doctor, playing every role. Our mothers are exhausted. So I must ask, at what cost? What will come of generation after generation of children being raised by tired, disembodied mothers? Just look around. You see, mothers don't need patted on the back. Mothers don't need accolades. They need tangible support in the household and in their communities. They need shared responsibility. They need reciprocity in relationships. They need to be held. They need pleasure, space to release, freedom to create for the sake of creating. And responsibility lies on each and every one of us to give this to our women. Humanity cannot be free until women are free. And I believe community is key. So, I just followed that page. Hearticulations of a, I don't remember the last word and my phone's not showing me the page. So I guess, I don't know. Hearticulations of a BirthKeeper. So yeah, I'll tell you some of the cost. So in 2014, when my husband decided to leave me, I became a part-time single mother. And about, I think it was maybe 2 years later, I don't remember exactly when my daughter stopped going to his house week on, week off. Um, I think maybe it was about 2 years in, I think. Um, and switched just to weekends, some weekends with him. And yeah, he became her father became less and less present and more difficult. And we barely spoke, he and I, for several years, only when we absolutely had to. And he gave me much less even than I gave him. And then he withdrew even his child support, which was very minimal, but still helpful. And he withdrew that in 2020, in August of 2020, when my daughter and I chose to live separately, so that I could try to keep my costs down because she could go live with her friends. But he decided, since we weren't living together, neither of us needed that money more than he wanted to keep it, I guess. He claims it was because his daughter never came to visit him, so he didn't want to give her the money unless she came to visit him. And since she wouldn't go visit him, he wouldn't give her the money. And so when she was ready to move out on her own, about 6 months after she had moved in with her friend's family, he still was refusing to support her in any way. And so so we did it without him. And neither of us have, well, I guess she's had small communication with him, but I haven't spoken to him in a couple of years now, a period, at all. No emails, no texts, nothing. But that's just one way that we weren't supported. Because I was a single mother, and because I had to support myself, and because I had lost my job, because I had gotten sick and had been given a medical release from that job. And, at that time, her dad was giving us $500 a month, which is, not much. I mean, it was enough, I guess, to make sure that she always had all the food she wanted, and maybe a little something extra now and then. But so I worked and I worked and I worked, and I was out of the house all the time. And my teenage daughter was home alone a lot, and she didn't go to school after she hit her head. So between the winter of her freshman year of high school and the winter of her junior year, when she finally decided to drop out completely and get her GED, she didn't go to school. And so I never got time to myself. She wanted to be home, and I would have loved to be able to be home with her. And if I had been able to be home with her instead of out hustling my ass, making money so I could keep a roof over our head and food on our plate and supplements in our, the supplements we needed, and seeing the doctors that we needed, and I could have just been home with her and caring for her and making sure she ate well. And we both struggled with eating well for all of those years we were on our own. But instead, I had to be out working and hustling my ass. And when I wasn't hustling my ass, sometimes I wanted some time to myself, so I was out of the house. And so basically, we spent almost no time together for years, even though we lived together. And there is this huge divide. There has been a huge divide between her and I since she was at least 14. And we have only begun to take the most tentative of steps back. And it broke my heart when she moved out a year earlier than I planned, but I definitely couldn't argue with her point when she said, well, this way you don't have to find a place for both of us. She saw the struggle. She saw how hard it was for me to keep us housed together. Somehow every month I came up with close to $2,500 a month just for a roof over our head and food on our plate. Just that, nothing else. So I worked. And every once in a while, we would do a fundraiser and ask for some extra support. And one of those times we bought a really good blender, so a Vitamix, so that we could do smoothies for a while, so we could get concentrated nutrition into our bodies. And here I am now, all these years later, still working my ass off, still not feeling like I can trust that I will be supported, and not doing my work in the world that I want to do because I have to be out working. I have to spend so much time working that I have to then set aside time for recovery from working. And then there's just really nothing left after that. So very high cost to this hyper-individualism, to this feeling that I have to do it myself. I know that hyper-individualism is a trauma response, and I've been acting out that trauma response my entire life. And it's been proven to be accurate at many points. I do believe that my daughter was accurate when she said, "No, Mom, we can't tell your family what's really going on right now because they'll blame you." At that time, I believe that was true. It's no longer true. We now have been more open about what was really going on for Ainsley and I, and they've been very supportive. But yet, I don't feel supported. I don't have trust. And I feel guilt every time I have to ask to borrow money from my mom. And then I feel guilt every time for every minute that I still owe it to her. And I don't want to borrow money. I just want to have what I need in order to feel supported and in order to not have to work so fucking hard and have to stay under the radar so that I can keep my fucking health insurance from the state. And I long ago lost food stamps because I made too much money. Because if your household make, God, what was it? It's like so little. It's such a fucking small amount. It's like $1,300 or something. I wish I could remember for certain, but since my daughter got her GED, even though she was under 18, her income when she got a full-time job, therefore was counted towards our income. And so we lost our fucking food stamps because my 17-year-old daughter went out and got a full-time job. Working minimum wage. And working minimum wage was enough money for that the two of us no longer qualified for food stamps. So fucking stupid. And then I have to perform gymnastics as a self-employed person to ensure that I don't make too much money in order to lose my health insurance. And so that's part of the reason why I have not officially become a coach that takes money from, that receives money in payment for my time working with people. Because I don't want to make too much money and lose my health insurance again. Such a fucked up system. So, instead, I work jobs that have excellent tax benefits, like rideshare driving. Every mile, I get 55 to almost 60 cents a mile as a tax write-off. And that adds up a lot. And then I have some tax write-offs for eating while I'm working. And I have some tax write-offs for the fees for being a rideshare driver. And then as a house sitter and pet sitter, I'm going to have tax write-offs for that as well because that's traveling for work. And so I'm doing all these gymnastics to make sure that I don't make more than, I think it's $12,800 I'll double check. But I think for a single person, it is around $12,000 a year that I can make before I lose my health insurance. I don't know anybody who can live on $12,000 a year, who can pay rent, who can buy food, who can have any semblance of treats. So, truly, I want to give away. I want everything I know and everything I can give to be open source. Honestly, I always have. I genuinely don't want to receive money in direct um, compensation for my time. That doesn't feel good to me. That doesn't feel right. That's just me trading time for money, and I don't want to trade my time for money anymore. That's a losing game. I want to just make the stuff I want to make and write the stuff I want to write and talk about the stuff I want to talk about and throw the events that I want to throw, and I want anybody to be able to come to them, and I want anyone who wants to benefit from them to benefit from them. I want the time so that I can make just oodles and oodles of free content so that people who were like me a few years ago, who don't have any fucking money to pay for a coach to help them get out of the shithole they're in, I educated myself with free content, hundreds of hours of it, and there's a lot of really good free content out there. And then there are coaches who work really hard and create a lot of really amazing stuff, and they charge high dollar for it, and then eventually they basically give their older stuff away. They have a Black Friday sale or something, and then for like $100 you can buy all of the courses they've ever made. And that's how I got lots of courses, buying them on deep discount or getting scholarships, or figuring out the creative ways to get the re-education that I needed to learn how to communicate more effectively, to learn how to manage my emotions effectively, how to alchemize my emotions, how to take care of my body, how to eat well, I had to learn fucking everything. I was barely surviving as a kid. I didn't learn the basics. So, my dream is that I get to do and make and give and be with and do for others all that I want without any concern about my needs being met. Without any concern about me being able to afford to go on a trip now and then, or to be able to just fully take total time off and not do anything for a period of time. My dream is that I will receive plenty of financial support in the form of donations, and plenty of support in the form of gifts of other sorts of resources that I would trade cash for if I needed to. I want to receive the abundance in that way, in that I do not have to worry or scrabble or prostitute myself driving my car. I know it's not a very kind word to use, but giving myself over to someone else, another company, to make ends meet. I don't want to do rideshare anymore because I have to. I want to do it because every once in a while it's fun. It's really interesting. I get to talk to cool people. All I want to do is talk to interesting people, learn interesting stuff, do interesting things, and create interesting things with interesting. And I want to like go places with interesting people. That's all I should have to do. And I know in this fucked up world that we've created for ourselves, that's not typically possible, but I am done with this fucked up world that we've created for ourselves. And I want a new one. And I want to be part of creating a new one. I would much rather be investing my time in that. And it's been really hard working on the I'm not enough wound. when I can't even feel like I am deserving of support, that I am deserving of effortless nourishment and effortless care and basically all those things that you want as a small child from your parents. Unfortunately, a lot of us didn't receive. I just want to be able to trust that I'll be taken care of. And I'd like to be able to create a space where my daughter can feel the same. So, an example of how this works is I have been working with a dear friend now for quite some time. She's been in a very hard place with her health and with her mental health, both physical and mental. Her health has been just in the absolute shitter for quite some time. And over the past 6+ months, I have spent quite a bit of time every week, whether working on helping her support her fundraiser, or going to her house and helping her with stuff around the house, or being like an accountability buddy to, do some practices that we both want to do, or there's just a lot there. I coordinated a group of people to clean up her and her partner's backyard because they hadn't had the energy or the time or the bandwidth to do any maintenance in a very long time. And I've done all of this because I wanted to, and because I wanted her to feel supported, and I wanted to show her that her community supports her. And she kept saying, but I don't want to owe you, and you're giving so much, and I don't know how to repay you. And I kept saying, because it's not meant to be direct compensation from you. I don't want your money. I don't want your things. I just want your presence while we're together. And maybe someday, yeah, we'll talk about it and you can give me a testimonial or something. And so for months, that's the conversation we would have over and over. She would say, I am afraid about all that you are giving and that I am not reciprocating. And I would say, I am giving because I choose to and because I love you. And I do not have an expectation of direct reciprocation from you. And lately, there have been a variety of extra things that have come my way, some of them directly from her. She went through her clothes and found a lot of really lovely things that she no longer wears, that she gave me, that I'm really excited about, and felt like they literally were things that I would have purchased for myself had I the money for them. Here's one example. I've literally always wanted one of these little, these kind of little fancy, I know it's called a fanny pack. I don't want to call it that because I've never liked fanny packs. But this is amazing, and I've always wanted one like it. And she bought one. She bought it for herself years ago. Never really uses it. Got herself a cheaper one that she uses all the time, and she's like, so she spent $100-something on that thing, I think, and she gave it to me. That's one of the ways that that is direct reciprocation of my offering to her. She's giving me a gift of something that I genuinely want, and I didn't have to trade money for it. She just gave it to me directly. And another is in their basement, they have a like 3/4 size fridge that she's going to give me instead of selling. And I very much want a fridge like that because my partner and I have been using like dorm fridges for the past couple of years that we've lived together. And I'm tired of not even able to stand anything up. Like I can't have any normal sized jars stand up in my fridge because it's too fucking small. So everything has to be on its side and stacked up, and it's all fucked up and stupid, and I hate it. And I just want my condiment jars to be able to stand up in the fucking fridge. And I'd like to be able to have enough room that it's okay that I buy something that's a little bit larger. I literally don't buy some of the things that I want because they won't fit in my fucking fridge. And so now my dear friend is giving me a fridge. something that I want very badly, and I wasn't going to trade money for it because I didn't want to spend $500 on a fridge. And so to me, it is worth the $500 she spent on it originally. And to her, she's really only giving up like $100 that she'd be able to get for it on Craigslist. That is another example of generosity coming my way in a form other than cash. And in this case, it's even direct from the person that I'm offering my time and support to. But I know that there's indirect ways that I have also received tremendous abundance. Like when I've gone to Goodwill lately, and if I've got in my mind, like specifically what I want, I find it. And so then I'm buying these lovely clothes, these really nice things that would be much more expensive if I was buying them new. And I'm not having to because I'm finding them at Goodwill instead. And I'm paying a fraction for them. I consider the difference. Say I paid $10 for an item that would have cost me $80 if I bought it new. I consider that to be a $70 bonus, a $70 chunk of income, essentially. Because I didn't have to trade it for this dress. I still get to have the dress, but I didn't have to pay the $80. I only paid 10. So, yeah. I'm going to continue to trust and believe that the abundance that I desire and that I know is mine and that I deserve will continue to come to me in a variety of creative ways. And I do need some cash for some things. And so I am going to launch my fundraising site. And I'm starting with saying, basically, hey, like every $40 I get buys me an hour of doing things that I want to do and creating what I want to create instead of driving my damn car. So please help me recapture. I set a goal, I think it's 1,700, and $1,700 would equal about 40 hours of working. And I will, instead of driving for those 40 hours, I will work on my computer and I will make the stuff that I want to make and I'll do the things I want to do. And some of them will be income generators and some of them will be just things I want to give away. So I hope that the words that I need and the resources that I need will present themselves, because I recognize that part of it is that I actually need to teach people how this works. And the way I see it is when someone is doing work in the world that I really appreciate and that I benefit from, and they have a Patreon, I go support it at whatever level I can. Even if it's only $1, I'm still energetically supporting that person. And then I share their stuff too. That's another thing I do, is that I frequently share the stuff of the people that I support, because I feel like actually the most beneficial way that I can support them rather than giving them my cash is to give them my time and to demonstrate to others who I appreciate working with and who I would recommend they work with as well, and who they might want to support on Patreon or buy me a coffee or whatever. I support artists. I support astrologers. I support all kinds of people. There's a coach that I support monthly on her Patreon. So yeah, I believe in the I believe that there will be people who see value in what I have already done and maybe have received benefit from what I've already offered, and will donate to me in an amount that feels good to them, that feels like, thank you, Heather, for what you have given me. I am going to give back to you in what I consider to be like fashion. And there are those who would probably give me lots of money if they had it, but they don't have much. And with those folks, yeah, I mean, every little bit is a big support to me. And if someone gives me $10 and a prayer, or $10 and a few minutes of meditation on my success, or $5 and shares my posts and helps me raise awareness and expand my message, that is extremely beneficial. I would much rather somebody who wants to give me $250, I would much rather that they give me $40 and share my stuff. Uh, Especially if it would cause them, I don't want anyone to stretch themselves thin. But I do value making an investment in myself and an investment in others, and I attempt to give at whatever level I feel is commensurate with the benefit that I receive from them, and that stretches me a little bit financially, not in a way that puts me in danger by any means, but sometimes $20 feels like a lot of money to me, and I honor that. Sometimes $100 feels like a lot of money to me. But feels like a good investment. That's what I'm saying. So I feel like process of making this video has helped me a little bit in clearing some of my thoughts and getting some of the mess out. And yeah, I think I hope to make another version of this that's a little bit better, a little more clearer, but this helped. Good start. Okay. I think I feel complete for now. Basically just trying to clear some shit out of my head that's just been stuck in here for way too long. So I need to rest and have some lunch and be ready to get to work by 3. So better hit the road, or not hit the road, but get busy. Okay. Thank you for being on the receiving end. And I hope you have a great day.